Terry, we like to pick on that too. One of our favorite family pastimes. It's pretty tough. Didn't start this week thinking this is how I would finish it, but I do want to thank Dad for being brave enough and strong enough to lead us through this today. I can't imagine. As a father, I can't imagine what that must be like. You know, I look around and all the folks that came through, it was incredibly uplifting, all the condolences, the flowers, the visits, the conversations, the texts, the messages. We appreciate more than you know. That really is how you get through these things. The saddest part of it for me, obviously, than the obvious is that Phil he loved it. He would have loved to see all of you people. He really would have. He would have loved, maybe not to be here, but he would have loved for us to be somewhere all together. That's just who he was. We've heard it already, but Phil was I'm a little older than Philip, so of course I've known him, or I knew him his entire life, and he absolutely loved events and functions, parties, games, really anything in which his people, yours people, were taking part. Without question, I'm certain he's looking down today with a big old smile at you, his ever-present smile. In a million years, I didn't think I would be the one standing here with Rob, honoring Phil at his funeral, just as it's a natural order of things, but here we are, talking about him in the past tense, so we ask that you please bear with us as we muster the strength to struggle through this tribute. I'll start with one of my earliest memories of Philip. We called him Phillip back then. Sometime along the way it changed to Phil. This memory saw Philip and I sharing a bedroom together in a house not too far from here. It really wasn't. Phil was probably 4 or 5 years old, and I'm just about a year and a half older than him. And Phil was very small in stature. So small, in fact, that every night when we went to bed, Phil had to get a running start and leap into that bed. It's really the only way to get in. I don't know how many of you understand the sport of high jumping, but it's called the Fosbury flop. When you run and you throw yourself, I guess looking back, that was more like the Fillsbury flop. On this particular night, Philip didn't make it into the bed. He instead bounced off of that bed and back onto the hardwood floor. We had a hardwood floor. I'm sure I laughed at first. That is our family's natural reaction. Sorry, I can't read. It says, point to mom and dad and say hello. Yeah, we do. Anyway, as I laughed, I remember Philip starting to cry, actually scream in agony and cry. Spoiler alert, Phil had dislocated his hip that night. My laughter quickly turned to pain. And I didn't fully understand then what I do now. That pain I was feeling that night, that pain I felt hearing him cry was true love. I cried in my bed that night. I still agonized through the night in his. And on that night in the early 1980s, I felt in my soul what real brotherly love was. Another early memory came around the same time in our lives. We were still living in that same house not too far from here. And I had left to go play with our neighbor. His name was Leslie, but we called him Junior. On that day, Junior and I had decided to climb onto the roof of his storage shed. And as we sat there with our feet dangling off the side, in his squeaky little voice. I won't try to impersonate it today, but he said, I want to climb up too. I want to climb up too, Stephen. And of course, I'm the older brother, and I was trying to be, I guess, cool in front of our older neighbor, Junior. I said, Phil, you're too little. Just go back home and play. And as I was saying this, Junior's little dog, a little Pekingese, I don't remember that damn little dog's name, but he scared the crap out of all of us. He started barking and running toward Phillip. We were both scared, but I was safe on top of that storage shed. So when Phillip saw and heard that dog, he immediately started to turn and run home. But when he turned, he ran right into Junior's parents' car parked in the driveway. Now Phillip was little. He was. And so when he ran into that car, he ran slam into the bumper right here. Hit him right in the bridge of his nose. He didn't fall, but he did keep running, and he started bleeding. And he continued running home. The next thing I remember hearing was my mom yelling my name and telling me to come home. A few stitches for Phil, and he was okay. And after all of that was taken care of at the emergency room, I remember vehemently arguing my case to this one and that one. Not my fault. Not my fault. Not my fault. And my mom, I still to this day remember her saying to me, you're supposed to watch out for him. He's your little brother. Although Phil and I had a few disagreements, not many over the next 40 plus years, I never forgot Mom's words, and I always tried to watch out for Philip. Funny thing is, he must have been listening too, because he always tried to watch out for me and Rob. And I bet he will continue to do just that. I have thousands of memories of Phil, spanning nearly 45 plus years. And almost all of those memories are fond ones. You've heard already, and you'll hear some more, that smile you see there, that was pretty much who Phil was most of the time. I know he had his sad days, but he was happy to be around, and he always had that smile. Because he was one of the kindest and most caring and authentic people I really have ever met. If you're opening a gift at Christmas or on your birthday or any other event, Phil was as happy, maybe even more happy than you were. You've seen some of those pictures, he was smiling quite a bit. If you needed help with anything, Phil would be on his way. He'd be on his own time, but he'd be on his way. You wanted someone in the stands pulling for you, cheering for you? That's where Phil would be. Robert and I we were sharing memories just the other night. And Rob said something I don't think I'll ever forget it. He said, you know, in this day and age, it's easy to hear and see all the evil there is in this world. It's abundant. But Phil proved and showed it almost every day that there's a lot of good here too. There's a lot of good here too. Phil was one of the good guys. I'm sure I'm going to miss my little brother every day until I see him again. But until that day comes, I'm going to hold on to some memories. Riding bikes. We used to ride bikes a lot. Played cops and robbers when we were little. We played with Hot Wheels. We rode roller coasters. We watched cartoons on Saturday morning and after school. We ate bowls of cereal. We took car rides to school almost every morning, or bus rides to school with a liver mush and egg sandwich that Mom wrapped up in a paper towel for us and so forth. I remember cheating off his paper in Spanish class. I got an A in that class. I remember as adults sharing a beer or 2 or 5 or 10 together. And I remember praying every time we had a family game night that this guy would end up on my team. It wasn't his forte, let's just say that. I remember how Phil's love never wavered through our many ups and our few downs. I remember how much he loved his family, his nieces, his nephews, his sister-in-law, Heather, his uncle, his cousins, his aunts, his grandparents, and his friends. And I remember That's all the memories I'm going to share today, and for those of you I see later, I'll continue to share, and I hope you share yours too. But I would like to close with a poem. I didn't write this poem. The title of the poem is My Brother. The author is unknown. My brother. As kids, we lived together. We fought, we laughed, we cried. We didn't always show the love that we both had inside. We shared our dreams and plans and some secrets too. All the memories we share is what binds me now to you. We grew to find we have a love that is very strong today. It's a love shared by our family that will never fade away. You are my brother, not by choice, but by the nature of our birth. I could not have chosen a better one. You were the best brother on earth. Rest in peace, Phillip.